Welcome to the ED Post for All Season Sports Show. I'm Rubenstein here again with Dave Raese. And Dave, the WVU men's basketball team getting ready to open up play in the Big 12 tournament after Saturday's thrilling win against number 8 Kansas. And just want to start off, first of all, how do you think Bob Huggins should spend that $25,000 incentive that he got for beating the Jayhawks?
I don't know. That's a pretty good deal for beating them. So, he ought to had written in for TCU or something like that, make it a little easier, but I guess they wouldn't go for that. But it was a big win for the team. So,
right.
I'm not too sure it was worth $25,000, but it definitely gives the team a real needed boost going into the tournament. And like you say, you never know in these tournaments.
No, absolutely. I know Texas has owned WVU in the first 2 meetings, but the Longhorns haven't really been the same since they beat West Virginia in mid-February. And one of the aspects is Devin Williams and kind of his improved play against Kansas, and he certainly did a lot, not to take away from what he did, but Kansas didn't have starting center Joel Embiid, so still kind of wonder what you're going to get from him in the Big 12 tournament, I think.
Yeah, I think, there are starting centers, and Embiid, is already projected, lottery pick, and so it's not like they lost, just some, 7-foot stiff or something. This guy's a game changer, and so that it probably made a difference. But again, you just can't take anything away from the win. Teams have injuries, and they still have to perform, and so I know they're resting him up for the NCAA tournament, which is wise on Kansas's part. And it's a big win, and they have to play Texas. They've lost to them twice. Maybe they can make the adjustments that are needed. She said they had 2 meetings. I didn't know if you meant meetings or beatings, because the Texas sort of handled us pretty good both times. So, but that buoyed with the win and revenge factors, I think it's going to be a lot closer game.
And you mentioned one of the things you mentioned was just teams dealing with injuries. One guy on WVU's he's taken a beating and falls, but he's been so consistent throughout the season as Juwan Staten, the point guard. And I don't know that I've ever seen a WVU point guard with his skill set and who has had the complete season that he has. When you look at, I know he doesn't really have a 3-point shot, but aside from that, his ability to drive to the rim with his speed, coupled with just his will to win, I guess you could say, and just knowledge of the game and the way he can pass and the way he rebounds. I don't know that I've seen a complete point guard like that in West Virginia.
I have to go back to Greg Jones. Of course, you went all the way back. Ron Williams was absolutely, he was 6'3", and of course he didn't have the 3-point shot, but he could take over a game. And Greg Jones used to be able to do that, but that's the company he's in, and really that's pretty good company. I think Ron Williams was a first-round draft pick, so that's good company.
A little bit more on him. I mean, when you look at his season, Kevin Jones led the Big East in scoring and rebounding a couple years ago. Deshaun Butler obviously did what he did in leading the team to the Final Four, but where does Juwan Staten's individual performance rank in individual history?
I think the team would be more lost without him than the team with Greg Jones. Maybe not so much Deshaun Butler, because they did have a good team around him, but he made so many of those key shots that sort of separate him. Mm-hmm. But Jones obviously was a stalwart. But I think that looks like in this team that if they lose Juwan Staten, I think they're in real big trouble. And he's never been in foul trouble or anything either.
No.
It's like not been hurt as far as sitting out, well, as far as we know. And so he's played just about every minute of the game, and that's a lot of stress when you're the point guard and you have to bring the ball up, gets things. He knows he has to score. He knows he has to rebound. I mean, he's just done everything.
I know this is a guessing game, and it's always hard to know, but Juwan Staten, I did find it interesting, and it makes sense that after Saturday's game, he said he was going to test the waters, see how NBA scouts evaluate him, and that's always kind of a guessing game of what the scouts see in him. He's 6 foot, he doesn't have a 3-point shot, but he does everything else well. I don't know, what's your take there? Do you think he'll be back for his senior season, or do you think the NBA scouts are going to like what they've seen?
I think it would depend on the NBA scouts. He sat out a year transferring from Dayton, so he's been around. I don't know how he can improve things. I don't know how he can play any better than he has. And I think if the money is there, he'll go. And if not, he'll work on his 3-point shot this fall, this summer.
Absolutely. No, it'll be interesting to see if he can keep it going in the Big 12 tournament and see if it leads to the NIT or where they may be after that. But Dave, appreciate your time once again, and please continue to check theedpost.com for the latest on the Mountaineers. Thanks for watching.